Hello and welcome to Always Elite. Today we're reviewing AEW's All Out pay-per-view, which happened yesterday in Chicago, Illinois. We're going to start with the buy-in and the Women's Casino Battle Royale, where the winner gets the first shot at the AEW Women's Championship. First 5 participants enter the ring. It's Leva Bates, Faba Apache, Priscilla Kelly, Nyla Rose, and Solange Royale. Starts off just as expected. Everybody tries to attack Nyla and get rid of the biggest woman in the match, but she powers out just as quickly as they attacked her. Leva Bates gets knocked to the outside with her feet hanging on the ropes. Peter Avalon then takes books, puts them down, takes her off the ropes, puts her feet on the books so that she does not get eliminated. That's how you get eliminated, when both feet hit the floor. Then he proceeds to take more books and place them on the ground in a path so that she can walk back to the ring. I found that quite funny. Well, after she gets back in the ring, Nyla quickly eliminates the other 4 as she awaits the next 5 to come out. The next 5 that came out were Penelope Ford, Shazza McKenzie, Sadie Gibbs, Big Swole, and Dr. Britt Baker. Shazza knocks Britt Baker from the apron. Britt gives Shazza a mandible claw and he eliminates Shazza from the apron. Nyla Rose, Niranagi to Big Swole on the apron. Big Swole was eliminated at that point. Nyla then eliminates Penelope Ford shortly thereafter. The next 5 that come out were Tennille Dashwood, formerly Emma in WWE, Eva Lise, B. Priestley, Brandy, and Awesome Kong. Gee, I didn't see that coming. Awesome Kong picks up Sadie Gibbs and uses her to eliminate Tennille Dashwood, who was on the apron. Kong gives a huge back fist to Sadie and gets her eliminated. Then the next 5 women come out. It was Allie, Nicole Savoy, Teal Piper, who is Roddy Piper's daughter. ODB, yes, she made an appearance here. I think that was great. And Jazz, she's another one that's been around for a while. Nyla tosses Nicole Savoy out. She gets eliminated. Then the Joker comes out, and it's Mercedes Martinez, which I have no idea who that is. Apparently she's very popular on the indie scene. Maybe you know. Maybe you can let me know in the comments who she is, because I do not. Nyla drops Jazz right out of the ring. She gets eliminated. Brandy gets eliminated by Britt Baker shortly after. Mercedes gets in and takes down all who are still in the ring, which was kind of neat to see, because apparently everybody there knew who she was. Nyla eliminates Allie. Sadie Gibbs is dumped out by B. Priestley. Britt Baker super kicks Mercedes on the apron. Mercedes is eliminated. Britt Baker eliminates B. Priestley shortly thereafter. The last 2 in are Britt and Nyla, and I called it on the predictions. I said either Nyla or Britt was going to win. Now, Teal Piper got eliminated somewhere. Did not see it. There's probably 1 or 2 others that I missed, but I did not see them on the screen. Well, as it turns out, after B gets eliminated, she helps Nyla Rose to eliminate Britt Baker by holding onto her arm as Nyla dumps her over the top. So Nyla becomes the first woman in the AEW Women's title match, which will take place on October 2nd at the first airing on TNT. The next match on the buy-in was Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans. Private Party consists of Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, who I've seen wrestle before. They're pretty good. They're pretty good at what they do. Cassidy and Angelico chain wrestle right at the beginning. I thought it was quite a good match, good match start for at least a tag team match. And it was pretty standard after that, in and out with tags and basic moves. Evans gets in an inverted armbar to Quinn, which I thought looked painful. Evans tosses Cassidy over his head to the outside. Cassidy turns it into a Rana on Angelico on the floor. That was quite an aerial maneuver, if you ask me. Cassidy then gives a whirlwind DDT to Angelico. Later, Mark Quinn shoots a shooting star press from the ropes to Evans from the top rope. And then Quinn gives a Rana after Cassidy and Angelico. Rana into a cutter from Cassidy to Angelico. They call that gin and juice. It was kind of weird. Private Party pins Angelico to win. Angelico and Evans beat the holy hell out of Private Party after the match. I guess there's some bad blood there from some other indie shows. In a backstage interview, MJF says he's going to help Cody defeat Shawn Spears. But Cody still has to pick his person, his corner man. We'll come to find out later who that is when it comes time for that match. Now we're going to get to the main card, and the first match on the card was SCU versus Jurassic Express, which I think was an interesting tag team name. It's actually a 3-man tag team, but I digress. They had Christopher Daniels, Scorpio Sky, and Frankie Kazarian versus Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, and Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy and Kazarian exchange quick pins to start the match. One right after the other. They keep pinning each other. One move pin. Which I thought was cool. Marco Stunt is tagged in and hits a drop kick, then flosses. I think that's who he is. If you don't know who he is, he's about, 5 foot nothing, weighs about, 80 pounds. And he just doesn't look like a wrestler, but he's very good, believe it or not. Luchasaurus flips over the top rope into a plancha on everyone outside. That's very impressive for a guy that's a dinosaur that is 7 feet tall. Remind you of anybody? Luchasaurus kicks everything in sight after he gets tagged in later in the match, which I thought was kind of cool. Luchasaurus standing shooting star press, which yet again is very impressive for a 7 foot, whatever you want to call him. Marco Stunt Casadora on Luchasaurus, who flips him onto Kazarian, who spins around into a DDT, which was very impressive. Marco and Jungle Boy stacked on Kazarian for a tombstone position. Daniels jumps off the top rope into a BME, best Meltzer driver ever. SCU pins Jungle Boy, so SCU wins again, which I'm okay with, I guess. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Granted, they are close friends with the Bucks and Cody and everybody else, but I don't know how you guys feel about that. Well, let me know in the comments about that as well, because I'm sure I'm going to hear it. The next match in the card was, surprisingly, only the second match in, was Kenny Omega versus Pac. Now, this wasn't much of a setup for anything. This was only 10 days notice. And I also predicted that it was going to stay the same, that Kenny would win because the storyline would stay the same. We'll see how that goes. Both start showboating, doing their little things, and Kenny goes down for a run over, and Pac just steps on him. So Kenny does something, and he just poses. It's hilarious. Later in the match, Omega went for a famouser. Pac just got out of the way. He just moved as he was coming down. So Omega landed right on his leg. Omega looked really surprised when he got out of that. Which was, you could tell by his facial expressions, he really didn't mean it. He was just playing to the crowd. We'll fight outside the ring. Pac facebuster on the apron to Kenny, which looked ugly. It looked really bad. Later, Omega facebuster to Pac. Pac spikes him on the spike DDT onto Omega again. Pac does a 450 splash. Now these are all points along the match. They weren't all together. Most of it was though. Kenny Oshiguroshi to Pac, which looked even uglier. Kenny gives a V trigger. Tries a V trigger again, but Pac blocks it. A little bit later, a flying V trigger to Pac. And then there was a running V trigger to Pac. Omega One Wing Angel countered into the Brutalizer, which is a form of an octopus hold. Omega passed out. Pac wins by KO. He just passed out. He didn't tap out, he passed out. Which leads me to believe there's going to be another match in there somewhere, because he didn't actually give up. Kind of, you know, like the Austin thing back in the 90s. Where Bret Hart made Austin pass out. Next was the Cracker Barrel Clash, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's a hardcore match. It was a three-way dance between Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, and Joey Janela. At the start of the match, Jimmy just goes outside and grabs a staple gun. Just to flaunt it around and say he can use it at any time he wants. He brings it into the ring and it gets knocked out of his hand almost immediately. Janela and Allin, after they beat Allin up and bring him to the outside, they tape him to a chair. And then Janela takes a bunch of tacks that were in a cup, sticks them in Jimmy's mouth, and then tapes his mouth shut. Which was kind of weird, but I guess it works. Allin dives onto Havoc from the top turnbuckle, which was kind of ugly. You know, because then Havoc just he somehow breaks free, and I don't know how he didn't swallow any tacks. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he swallowed a few. Janela drops Allin on his head on the apron, which didn't look right. Kind of looked like he kind of did it, and it looked like a big ending, but he dropped him on the point of his head. It was gruesome. Janela flipping powerbomb to Allin through a table on the outside, which was kind of neat. Allin then proceeds to pull out a skateboard. It's covered in tacks on the bottom side. He jumps off the top rope and drives his skateboard into Janela like he's doing an ollie right into somebody. And you can see the tacks in Janela's back. Thought that was kind of weird. Allin coffin drops with the barrel on his back to no one because Havoc moved out of the way. It looked cool. It was a cool spot. Havoc did a superplex to Janela through a barrel, then he stands Janela up and gives him an acid rainmaker into the barrel, which made the barrel explode. Obviously the barrel was not, you know, a working barrel, otherwise it wouldn't have broke. Because it just shattered, splintered and shattered everywhere. Havoc pins Janela, which I'm okay with, I guess. Janela's considered the bad boy. He'll get his revenge someday. Now the next match on the card was best friends Chucky Taylor and Trent Beretta versus the Dark Order, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. The winner gets a first round bye in the AEW Tag Team Tournament to determine the first AEW Tag Team Champions. Chucky T and Trent great tag team wrestling to start. After they throw them out of the ring, they hug in the middle of the ring. That's what they do. And everybody cheered and everything else. That was kind of cool. Dark Order go outside and gather themselves, and then they start to take over. They just beat the holy hell out of these two. They start to get their turnaround. Chucky T, I'm talking about best friends. They're starting to get their turnaround, and Chucky T pop-up powerbomb to Stu Grayson, which was kind of cool. Then they did a lawn dart cutter from Stu Grayson. To Stu Grayson, which was just basically a cutter with one of just being thrown into it. It's weird. Evil Uno distracts the ref, and the Dark Order's minions, or whatever you want to call them, beat up Chucky T pretty good. Dark Order with a fatality on Trent. Dark Order pins Trent. So the Dark Order, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno get a first round bye in the tournament. Now, Evil Uno was Dario Cueto's brother in Lucha Underground. I forgot his name already because it's been so long since I've seen it. I wish they'd come out with another season. Dark Order proceeds to take one of them, I think it was Trent, to the back by carrying them, druid style over their heads. The lights go out. And then when the lights come back on, Orange Cassidy is standing in the ring. Everybody's chanting for him, freshly squeezed, blah, 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 his normal stuff, which I think is funny. And then he just proceeds, with his hands in his pocket, to do a, tope suicida right to the minions. And he just kept his hands in his pocket. It looked weird. He looked like a fish out of water. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. The next match was Hikaru Shida versus Riho. Now the winner gets the other position in the AEW Women's Championship match. The winner here will face Nyla Rose on October 2nd. It started off pretty standard, two smaller women. They can't really do much, but they made it work. Shida Boston Crab to Riho, which looked horrible because Riho was only 100 pounds, and she could bend like a frickin' pretzel. It was gross, to say the least. Riho does a diving foot stomp to Shida. Not much more for the next 5 minutes or so. It's pretty standard. Riho double stomp from the top rope to Shida. Riho pins Shida. So Riho will face Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's Championship. Next we had Cody and Shawn Spears. Boy, was this battle great. Shawn Spears had Tully Blanchard at his side. Cody must choose somebody from his Nightmare family to be in his corner man. And he chooses MJF, which I'm very surprised that he didn't pick DDP instead, because DDP has been very near and dear to him. DDP looked kind of pissed at MJF, so there might be something there. Cody doesn't even wait for the bell. He goes right after Shawn Spears and kicks the crap out of him. He nails Tully until he goes down. Then they fight right into the crowd before the match even starts, which is great. As they get back towards the ring, Tully distracts the ref, and Spears gets a low blow to Cody. I kind of expected that. After that, it was very back and forth for a while. And then Spears DDT's Cody right on the apron. Cody stomps the holy hell out of Spears when he gets back in the ring because he gets pissed. And Cody springboard cutter to Spears, kind of an ode to DDT, or DDP. Yeah, sure. Spears gives a Death Valley driver to Cody on the ramp, which looked horrible. Cody crossroads to Spears. Tully gets on the edge of the ring before Cody goes for the pin to distract the ref from getting Cody the 1, 2, 3, which pisses off people even more. Tully beats up MJF, and lo and behold, Double A, Arn Anderson, comes storming down the ramp. Now, these two were tag team partners many, many moons ago. I'd have to say probably 20 or 30 years ago. He looked pissed. He got in the ring and spine-bustered Spears, which was probably one of my best moments of the whole pay-per-view, other than later. But this, up till now, that was probably my best moment. Cody then proceeds to toss a chair at Spears, disaster kick, and then another crossroads. Cody gets his revenge and pins Spears, which I think is great. And MJF gets in the ring to celebrate with him, but MJF really didn't do anything. It was kind of, why was he even there? At least DDP would have done something. Next we had the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers for the AAA Tag Team Championships. Starts off fast and furious. Phoenix powerbomb. Pentagon gives a drop kick to the balls afterwards. It's kind of alright. Let's see. Phoenix senton over the ladder onto the floor to the Young Bucks. I thought that was very impressive. Later, Pentagon and Matt double spear through the ropes onto their other respective partners through tables to the outside, which is a very, very cool spot because it was very, very visual. Although there's a better one coming up. Phoenix springboard splash, springboard Rana onto Nick into the ladder. That was cool. Bodies were flying everywhere at this point. Pentagon sling blades around the top of the ladder to Matt Jackson to get him off. Phoenix, I think this is the best. I believe this was the best spot in the match. Was Phoenix Destroyer through the ladder to Matt Jackson. Literally on the outside, springboard through the ladder. The ladder was set up like this, and he was over here, right through the middle of the ladder, and into just Destroyer. It was amazing. And then there was a Super Destroyer from the Lucha Bros to Matt, which was cool. Phoenix and Nick put the other partners on tables, and then they decide to climb ladders. And then they kept pointing at each other, egging each other on to jump. They get up there, and they jump off, and it looked like a frickin' car crash. Pentagon pushes Nick off the ladder as he's going outside. And he goes through tables on the outside, and he missed. His foot hit the ropes, and he missed one of the tables, and it looked like he bashed his face right into the second side of the second table. It's pretty ugly. And then Matt and Pentagon fight on the ladder, going up the ladder. Matt pulls off Pentagon's mask, which pisses everybody off. They do not like that one bit. He has to cover his face so nobody sees his face. But then he proceeds to find his way around and push Matt right off the ladder. Pentagon is really pissed off at this point. He goes to the outside, gets his mask, puts it back on. Lucha Brothers give Zero Fear, which is a package pile driver with a stomp. It was bad. It was right on a ladder too, so it looked like it really hurt. And the ladder didn't give way. So that must have really hurt. Lucha Brothers both climb up the ladder and grab the belts. They win the AAA Tag Team Championships. After the match, though, two masked men come out into the ring. They destroy all four who are in there, the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. They proceed to take off their hoods, take off the masks, and guess who it is? Santana and Ortiz. They were rumored to be at All Out. That's how they showed up. So I'm guessing they're either gunning for the Young Bucks or they're gunning for the Lucha Brothers to hold the titles. So I'm assuming it's probably the titles, but they had to get the Young Bucks out of the way. So I'm sure there'll be a series of matches with the Young Bucks and Santana and Ortiz. Then they'll loop around to the Lucha Brothers to get their shot at the title. I mean, it didn't surprise me all that they showed up there because they're a tag team. They were told they were going to be there. You know. And then we get to the main event of the evening, the much anticipated main event. It was Adam Hangman Page versus the Painmaker Chris Jericho for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. Aubrey is the first female referee to officiate a world title match on pay-per-view, let alone the first title match of a company. So big props to that. Page strikes first with a fallaway slam to Jericho. Now this one goes all over the place, and it's just really weird. Jericho counters a running shooting star press from the apron into a code breaker, which didn't impress me much because Jericho just fell down basically. Classic Painmaker Jericho grabs a bell, starts ringing it, says he's the champ, he wins, which obviously is not the case here. Page does a rolling senton to Jericho, followed by a short clothesline while Jericho's down. And then he proceeds to get a running shooting star press to Jericho, which is cool. Later, Jericho line salt to Page, but he was intercepted in the middle of jumping off the ropes. So Page had his number, he was waiting. Jericho gets into Boston Crab, reversed by Page. Page back elbows Jericho, and Jericho, after he rolls out of the ring, is busted wide open. There is a lot of blood coming out of Jericho's eye. I guess you can call that payback for what happened earlier. Boy, oh boy, how the tables have turned. Page gives Jericho an avalanche neck breaker, which didn't turn out right at all. Page buckshot lariat to Jericho. Jericho counters the Deadeye into the walls of Jericho, which I thought was cool. Page moonsaults off the top rope onto Jericho on the floor, which was a sight to see because his knee had been worked over quite a bit there. Jericho counters the buckshot lariat into a code breaker. And then we get to the finish of the match. Page Deadeye basically pile driver, I guess. That's what you could call that. Covers Jericho and only gets two, which everybody is surprised he didn't win there. But we all know better. Jericho gets up and gives Page the Judas effect, and Jericho pins Page to become the first AEW World Champion. Wow, what an event. Just like I called it, I said Jericho was going to win only because they need an established star to wear the title for just a little while. Maybe not so much. At least through the first month of television. And maybe to their next pay-per-view, which may be rumored in November or December. So let me know in the comments below what you thought of this entire pay-per-view and what you think of Jericho being champion. Come back will be next time, and we're going to be doing some other. Probably the next one we're going to do is either the first night on TNT, or if there's another New Japan pay-per-view. Until then, always be elite.